Hi, this is Dave and welcome to the Table, a series of videos where I review and discuss various board and card games looking at them from a family perspective. Today we're going to be taking a look at Zombies Keep Out from Privateer Press. This is a 1 to 6 player, fully cooperative game where you're working as a bunch of goblins in the factory trying to build contraptions, all the while trying to fend off a relentless zombie attack. All right, let's take a look at this game, see how it's played, and I'll come back and I'll give you my thoughts. Okay, I have Zombies Keep Out here set up in front of me, and let me quickly go over the components that come in the game, and then I'll show you how to play. Right here in the middle we have the game board here, and we have a bunch of numbered spaces in the middle which are going to be important for how the game plays. Up at the top we have the zombie factory, we have the balcony, 2 windows, the cellar, and the front door, and right now they all have their starting number of boards in front of them. We've got a number of these boards that come with the game, and so these kind of help protect from the zombie advance here. So there's 8 of them here and here, 6 here, and 10 on the front door. Down here we've got the zombie pool, which is kind of cool because it looks like a broken down swimming pool and all these zombies are just pouring out, and we have them in their starting locations, and there's 4 types. These blue ones are leapers, the gray ones are runners, the red ones are brutes, and these yellow ones over here are creepers. And they all have the same type of sculpt, so they look like this little guy here. Hello. And so just the different color just distinguishes what they are. There are a number of these bite tokens, which are really, really bad. We don't want these because really, really bad things happen to us when we start taking them. There are 3 decks of cards that come in this game. The first one is going to be these contraption cards here, and I have 5 of them set up here on the game board themselves, 1 above each location, and I have a little token that's on there that will advance. But anyways, what we're going to do is we start off here, and we need to be able to tinker with a number of resources to be able to build these different contraptions, and then when they're built we'll be able to resolve the certain effect on the bottom, and we'll flip them over, and once they're complete we'll be able to use them. So, which is really kind of what the object of the game is, to build these things while preventing the zombies from advancing. There's also 2 other decks of cards that come in the game. We have these Terrible Things cards here, and each of them have 3 actions listed on them, and I'll get to them during the gameplay. And we also have these parts decks here that they serve 3 functions as well. Number 1, they provide a part for us to be able to tinker, to build our contraptions. We can also use them to defend against zombies, or on certain ones we can use to repair any of the broken down boards that are going to happen from the zombie advance here. So I have the game set up here in front of me, and I have it set up for 2 players. So each player will start off with a starting hand of 5 cards. So I have them off to the side over here, and you can place them face up because this is a cooperative game. Now let me show you a little bit about the gameplay mechanics themselves. The first thing that we'll do is we're going to draw a card off of the Terrible Things deck, and we're going to be resolving the zombies advance, or zombies close in phase of the game. So what we're going to do is, as the player, you're going to look at the card here, and there are 3 things that we're going to choose from. And all of them are terrible in their own way. And what we're going to do is we will choose one of these particular actions, and we will resolve it, and we will discard the card face down. We'll resolve what it is. We do not read off the choices that we have, and we do not tell the other players what we could have chosen. So for example here, I'm going to choose that it says add 1 runner to each column. So now I'm going to add 1 of these runners to each column, and so I can choose where to put them. I can put them at the bottom, I can put them up front if I wanted to or not, but I'm going to add 1 to each column. I'm not going to tell the other players what my other options were. Now on my turn I have a few different options that I can do. The first thing that I can do is I can scrounge, which means I could take 2 cards off of the parts deck and I can add them to my hand, my inventory over here. So I could choose to do that. That's one action. It's called scrounge. The next I can do is I can tinker, and what I can do is I can discard a card in my hand that matches the next item that I need to build one of my contraptions. So for example here, what I'm going to do, I'll show you what this works. If I were to tinker I will discard this card here, put it in the discard pile, and then I will advance this one here because it matches that specific symbol. And these kind of work in a backwards S pattern to build these contraptions. So that's what the tinker action is there. And then the next thing that I can do is I can choose to defend. If I choose to defend, I could choose to discard this card here, for example, and I'd be able to replace a board here if there was one missing in any one of the locations. Or the other option I can do is to defend, and I can discard any number of cards that I have in my hand, and I can get rid of specific types of zombies. So I have to really watch my hand here too, because if I start discarding these things, I'll be discarding cards. Now, one note that when as many of these cards you discard, you can only remove zombies from one location. So right now here, I would have to discard these two cards here. If I wanted to get rid of all of them, I can get rid of one or not, but if I want to get rid of both of these zombies, I would have to discard one for the blue and then one for the gray. So I wanted to show you how that works. And then finally, one thing that we can do is we can push the button. And what we can do by pushing the button is once a contraption is built, we can push the button and we would be able to resolve whatever that effect is for that specific contraption. So those are the options that we can take. I showed you what the tinker action was. That was on my turn. Now, as these zombies continue to advance, we're going to have a few different things going on here. I'm just going to kind of just throw a bunch of them up here just to see how things advance during this game, because they're going to be all over the place. Now we start having a number of these zombies out on the board, and when on our turn, when we choose a terrible things action, we have to be able to complete this action. So you can't, if there are no, if like say for example there's no runners in the pool, we couldn't choose an action that made the runners be added to the game board. We wouldn't be able to do that. We'd have to choose one of the other choices on the game board. So if there's a lot of zombies out there, your choices may end up being limited. Okay, and if there's something where it's impossible to choose any of the three actions, then all the zombies are going to shamble. So it could be just they're going to just kind of close in on you. So that's how the terrible things work. These bite tokens are going to have a negative effect on you. One thing that I need to mention is on your turn, you do have the ability to be able to trade a resource with another player. When you take one bite token, you no longer are able to trade with any player, and you start having to talk with slurred speech. If you get 2 bite tokens, you will no longer be able to perform the tinker action. So now you're not going to be able to contribute to building the contraptions. You can still acquire parts and defend and repair, but you won't be able to participate in building the contraptions. If you get 3 bite tokens, you can no longer choose your own terrible thing. Basically what's going to happen is you're going to hold up your fingers, 1, 2, or 3, whatever it's going to be, and then you flip over the card and you're going to resolve that. So you don't even know, you don't even have a choice. And then you can no longer use any words when speaking. You can only grunt, grumble, and hand motion. So you're going to start to become more and more annoying and less effective as part of your goblin team. And then finally, if you have 4 or more tokens, you're fully zombie infected. Instead of performing an action each turn, you're going to draw a second terrible thing card and you're going to resolve that. And now you have to moan like a zombie when you're not grunting and grumbling. So you're just going to sit there and go the whole time. So you don't want to get these bite tokens because you're going to become not a welcome guest, not only in the game, but at the table with the people that you're playing with. And then one other thing too is when these guys move, let me show you on the board here. I just kind of filled them up. But if you look at some of these spaces, whenever the zombies are going to shamble, which means they're going to move, depending upon the color, that's the direction they're going to move. For example, here this one would move forward. If we have this blue one over here on this space will move on an angle up this way. So they're going to have a specific direction that they're going to move towards, and the direction they're going to move towards is going to be an area of the factory where they can do the most damage. So let me kind of zoom in here and show you a few different things here. If, for example, you chose a terrible action that all the brutes are going to advance, these guys in the top row are going to smash into the building here. This one here, if he smashes in, you will remove one board from the location. Same thing here. Now, if you notice on the game board, here's the front door and it's red. If he manages to smash into the front, if a red one smashes into their specific color, they are going to take out 2 boards. So that could be really, really bad there. The yellow ones will take off 2 off of the cellar, and the blue ones are going to take 2 off the balcony. The normal little runners right here are just going to remove 1 from each of the windows. So that's not going to be so terrible. It's just that those specific zombies are going to do essentially double damage in their specific area that they really like to attack. Now, one other thing that I want to show you too is when you start having all these zombies kind of bunching up on the board, there can only be 3 zombies on a specific space. So if we have something happen where we have some zombies are going to advance, for example here, if we chose an action that had all runners advance, this one's going to smash into this. We start resolving from the lowest number on up, so this one here will smash into this window here, and anytime they do damage, they go back into the zombie pool. This one here will smash in and we'll remove 1 here. This we have another one that's going to move up here, and then we continue here. This one's going to move up, and then we've got 1 here that's going to move into this space. Here, another one moves in, and then the rest of them you don't see on the screen. I'm just moving them forward into position right now. And so let me show you right here. We have 4 zombies on this particular space. We can only have 3 zombies on a space, so what's going to happen now is going to be a shoving action. So starting from the lowest square and resolving on up, we will choose which one of these zombies is going to get shoved. And so we'll just push this runner forward here. And so he's going to get moved forward. And you will continue to do this in numerical order, and then you will check to see if there's any more spaces where a shoving action may start another shoving action here. So it could become a chain of events that could be very, very detrimental to our factory. So the gameplay is going to continue. We're going to be choosing these, just kind of drawing a card from the Terrible Things deck, resolving that, and then choosing one of our actions on each of our turns. We're going to play until we build 3 of the contraptions in the game, or then we will win the game, but we will lose the game if each player gets 2 bite tokens, or if the zombies are able to infiltrate 3 of these locations, or if the zombies are, the brutes are able to knock through or they're able to go through the front door, then we'll lose the game. And so that is how you play Zombies Keep Out. All right, let's talk about Zombies Keep Out here. And this is a really, really fun zombie game, and for Privateer Press, in my opinion, this is the best release in the Bodger series. And let me start off with talking about the game board itself. Kind of reminds me of Plants vs. Zombies, except looking from the top. You've got one side, you've got essentially like the house, which is the factory, and the other side you have where all the zombies are coming from, which is the pool. And then they just keep coming towards you, and you have those little lanes that they're moving along. So it just kind of has that kind of feel, and I like Plants vs. Zombies. I think it's kind of a cool computer game, and so this just kind of has that feel for it. Now, in the gameplay itself, there is quite a bit that's going on. It's very, very fast paced. I mean, every turn you have 2 phases. You're going to have zombies close in, and you have the bodge. So you're going to be left with a tough decision every turn, because you're going to have to choose one of 3 terrible things. So there's nothing good about it. Everything is going to be bad. So you're going to have to choose the least of the bad things. And then the other side, the other element of this game is going to be how you're going to manage your hand and how you're going to manage your resources, because you're going to have to, each of those cards has 3 purposes that you can use them for tinkering or repairing or defending, and so you're going to have to decide how you're going to use those cards. Now you can also, while you can, trade cards with, you can trade a card with another player until they start losing that ability if they start taking on bite tokens. But once you manage your hand and your resources, you're going to have to make the decision And I recommend trying to tinker and get those contraptions built as quickly as possible, because as soon as you have them built, you can start using that specific action. So you can push the button and be able to defend and repel some of those zombies that are up closing in on your factory. Now, in the game itself, there is, you have specific paths that those zombies are going to follow, so they're going to be gravitating towards specific areas. And so when you do place zombies on the board, you want to strategically place them so when they do advance that they're going to do the least amount of damage. Now, one thing with this game that I do find that you have to really pay attention to, because it can become confusing, is the way that you're going to resolve the advances. And you have to remember that you have to do them in numerical order, starting from the lowest number up to the highest number. And a lot of times if I choose something, I've had to catch myself because I just start moving on any spot and just start moving forward on them. So you're going to have to specifically pay attention to that, because it's going to affect how some of the shoving actions are going to occur. And so that's probably the only negative thing, is because you have to resolve them in a specific order. So you just can't just go around moving them around, and I've kind of caught myself doing that a number of times, and so I've had to stop and go back and say, oh, I've got to do this in numerical order. So that's probably the only thing that is kind of a sticky point for me with this game. You get a lot of pieces for a very, I think, is a really good price point. The game, I think, retails for about 35 bucks. So, when you're playing, you're getting a whole bunch of minis that come with the game. So you're getting a lot of bang for your buck. This is a really, really cool game. And looking at it from a family perspective, you have a cooperative nature, so you have to work together. And this game really puts you in a spot where you have to make you have to pick from 3 bad things and try and choose you have to make the best decision in a bad situation. So choosing having to do that, it's something that you're going to, you're going to have to really think about. Okay, well, this is bad, this is worse, this one's even worse, so you're going to have to choose, the one that's bad. But you still have to make a decision there. And then also you're going to have to be able to, with the cooperative nature, being able to communicate with other people while you can, because those byte tokens are going to hinder the ability to communicate with some of the other players if they start acquiring more byte tokens. This game also provides for a whole lot of family fun, because you can play up to 6 people with this game. And so you can have a large group of people together, and you can just have a good time laughing, or after a while they start grunting and grumbling and stuff, you may want to hit them with the frying pan, but still, it just lends to the overall theme of the game, which is quite a bit of fun. And that is Zombies Keep Out. If you're interested in getting a copy, I'll have the information in the video description below. All right, and that's it for now, and we'll take a look at another game next time, and we'll see how it makes it to the table.